The cold winds of November are rolling into Lambeau Field, and the Carolina Panthers are walking straight into the storm. Every analyst, every network, every prediction model says the same thing: Carolina doesn't stand a chance. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit: the Panthers have been punched before, and they've learned how to punch back. This week isn't just another matchup on the schedule. It's a test, one that could define who the Panthers really are. The Green Bay Packers are coming in hot, sitting near the top of the NFC with Jordan Love finding his rhythm and their defense roaring behind Micah Parsons. They're confident. They're home. And they think Carolina's just another stepping stone. But football isn't played on paper. It's played in the cold, in the mud, in the moments when every odd is stacked against you. The stats tell a story that looks one-sided. The Panthers are averaging just 19 points per game, with the passing attack struggling to find consistency and the ground game carrying much of the weight. But here's what numbers can't measure: heart. This defense has been fighting tooth and nail every week, holding strong despite injuries, mistakes, and the noise from critics. They're still one of the top units in total yards allowed, and that matters when the lights are brightest. Now, look across the field. Green Bay's offense has been efficient: 27 points a game, over 350 total yards, but they've shown cracks. Cleveland found them. Dallas nearly broke them. And if there's one thing this Panthers team has proven, it's that when they play fearless, they can hang with anyone. Carolina's challenge is clear: protect Bryce Young, establish the run, and test Green Bay's secondary, their most vulnerable spot. Parsons will bring pressure, the Packers' front will close gaps fast. But if Carolina can stay balanced, if the receivers can win just a few key battles downfield, this game changes. Because make no mistake, Lambeau might be frozen, but the Panthers have fire in their chest. They're tired of being overlooked. They're tired of hearing rebuild. They're coming to fight for respect. And maybe, just maybe, they'll walk out of that icy stadium with something bigger than a win: proof that this team's spirit can't be measured by percentages or power rankings. I don't care what anybody says: if Green Bay walks into that field on Sunday wearing those hideous brown throwback jerseys, Carolina better make them regret it. Because let's be real, those things look like they were dug out of a time capsule from 1920. Leather helmet design, dull brown tones, like someone tried to make football look like a sepia photograph. And you know what makes it worse? They chose to wear that against us. Against Carolina. Not against Pittsburgh, not against the Bears, us. Like it's some kind of joke. They're saying, we can wear the ugliest strip in NFL history and still dogwalk the Panthers. No. Not this time. Not with this team. Because Carolina's got something to prove: pride. When you see a team roll up in clown suits thinking it's gonna be easy, you take that personal. You make them pay for that disrespect. They say, look good, feel good, play good. Well, they don't look good. So it's time for us to play great. I want to see that defensive line explode off the snap like a storm, like they're fighting for the name on their chest, not just the numbers on their jersey. And that's where it gets real. Because this matchup, it's bigger than fashion. It's trench warfare. How do you stop Josh Jacobs when he starts rumbling downhill like a runaway train? How do you keep him from dragging 3 guys for 5 extra yards? That's where Derek Brown, Shy Tuttle, and those big men up front earn their respect. Then there's J.C. Horn, the silent hunter. Who's he gonna lock up this time? Christian Watson? Romeo Odu? Maybe some rookie they're hyping up? Doesn't matter. Whoever lines up across from him is walking into a fight. JC doesn't just play corner, he stalks receivers like prey. And let's not forget Bryce Young versus Jordan Love. 2 young quarterbacks trying to build something real, both carrying the weight of entire franchises. Bryce, quiet, surgical, learning to command chaos. Love, fiery, unpredictable, still proving he can be the guy. It's the kind of duel that makes Sunday football feel like destiny unfolding right in front of you. But beneath all that hype, something else is happening, a storm brewing in Panther Nation's soul. We've seen heartbreak, missed plays, and close calls that cut deep. Yet here we are, still showing up, still roaring louder than ever. Because it's not about perfection, it's about pride. And if Carolina walks out there and smacks those throwback Packers in the mouth, that's not just a win on the scoreboard, that's a statement. So yeah, laugh all you want about those ugly jerseys, Green Bay. But when the dust settles, you might just wish you never pulled them out of the closet. There's something special happening in Carolina, something that reminds you football isn't just a game, it's a story being written every single week. And this week, that story came from the most unexpected place, a Twitter page called General Bryce Young. If you've seen it, you already know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you're missing out on pure gold. It's written like a Civil War letter from the front lines, except the soldier isn't a Union commander, it's Bryce Young himself, rallying the troops of Panther Nation. One of his dispatches reads, "Loyal townsmen of the Carolinas, I humbly ask you to retweet my dispatches as if they were intercepted letters from the enemy lines. Too many remain unaware, but with your aid, we shall spread war cries, mischief, Panther pride, and glory across the land." That right there? That's art. It's wit, it's loyalty, and it captures exactly what it means to be part of this fanbase, to laugh through the pain, to rally through the storm, and to still believe in the fight. So yeah, I'm officially calling it, General Bryce Young deserves our salute. And from here on out, every week, I'm picking one of his dispatches to share with Panther Nation, because it's not just funny, it's part of the culture now. It's part of what makes us us. But while we're laughing, the heart of this team never stops beating for the people who matter most, the community. This week, the Panthers rookies spent Halloween at the Atrium Kids Hospital in Charlotte, bringing smiles, candy, and a whole lot of heart. You had T-Mac dressed as Maui Muscles, wig, the whole deal. Jimmy Horn Jr. showed up as Scooby-Doo, and Nate Ransom rocked the Miles Morales suit like he just swung out of a Marvel movie. And those kids, man, their smiles said it all. For a few hours, football didn't matter. Wins, losses, stats, none of it. It was just laughter echoing down hospital halls. Moments like that remind you why you love this team. Because being a Panther isn't just about Sundays, it's about spirit, compassion, and connection. And speaking of spirit, Panther Nation never stays quiet. Because as always, when the fans talk, we listen. One fan, St. Crimson, said it best, Chuba didn't lose his spot because of injury, he was simply being outperformed. Sometimes, the number 2 just takes the opportunity and runs with it. Now, I get where that's coming from. But when you look deeper game by game, carry by carry, the story tells something different. Chuba Hubbard wasn't being outperformed early on. He was steady. Efficient. Carrying the load while Rico Dowdle was still getting limited touches. Through those first 4 weeks, the stats told the truth. Chuba 16 carries for 57 yards in week 1. 10 for 38 in week 2. 17 for 73 in week 3. And 10 for 49 in week 4 before the injury hit. That's not a man losing his spot, that's a man putting in the work. Then the injury comes, and that's when everything changes. Rico steps in and explodes. Suddenly, he's in rhythm, and when Chuba returns, he's out of sync. The engine's cold. Rico's hot. So no, it wasn't just about performance, it was timing, it was rhythm, it was how fast this league can flip your role upside down. And that's football, isn't it? One moment, you're the lead horse. The next, you're watching someone else sprint down the field with your carries. But that's why I love this game, because every single play is a fight for redemption. And something tells me, Chuba's not done fighting. Not even close. When you strip away all the noise, the fantasy talk, the stats, the comparisons, what you're really looking at right now in Carolina is a battle for identity. See, people love to debate whether Chuba Hubbard was ever outperformed. But when you look closer, the story isn't that simple. Before his injury, Chuba was doing exactly what was asked of him. He wasn't flashy, but he was steady, the heartbeat of the offense. And Rico Dowdle? He wasn't outplaying Chuba early on, he just wasn't getting the same chances. The dual-back system didn't give us a fair picture. And by the time Chuba went down, Rico seized his moment like a man who'd been waiting his entire life for one open lane. That's how fast things change in this league. One player limps off, another steps up, and suddenly the depth chart is rewritten overnight. But here's the truth, nobody really knows what would have happened against Miami or Dallas if Chuba had played. Would he have matched Rico's 200-yard explosion? Maybe. Maybe not. That's the cruel beauty of football, you don't get to replay the moment. You live with what happened, not what could have been. So yeah, the injury shifted everything. Rico caught fire, and when Chuba came back, the rhythm was gone. It wasn't a lack of effort, it was the price of time. And now, the question isn't who's better. It's who's hungrier. Because in Carolina, hunger wins you the job. And then came a comment from a fan that hit like truth from the locker room walls. Bryce doesn't need to throw for all those yards if the run game's working. As long as he makes the right throws in the clutch, that's what matters. That's it. That's the message. You don't need 350 yards and fireworks every Sunday, you need leadership. Poise. Timing. If Bryce Young gives you 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no turnovers, and that leads to a win, that's all that matters. Because this isn't about highlight reels. It's about growth. It's about learning how to win ugly, how to stay calm when the storm hits, and how to make your throw count when the world's crashing in around you. Bryce doesn't need to be Superman. He just needs to be steady, the same way Cam once was, the same way Jake Delhomme once fought, the same way every Panther who's ever put his body on the line for this city once believed. So as we head into Green Bay, this is where the story stands. 2 running backs fighting to define their roles. A young quarterback growing into the franchise. And a fan base that refuses to stop believing. Because every time the world counts us out, every time they laugh, every time they say, Carolina doesn't stand a chance, we fight harder. We dig deeper. We keep pounding.